taste that there's no cancer in this bagel.
No, I mean, that's why I choose the healthier side. When people tell me it's just coffee, I'm on, okay, sit down for an hour. Let me go over this science with you. And same thing with the bagels, you know. I searched it out. I did my due diligence for a very long time, like 3 weeks, just to make sure what I was putting, in my
Right.
coffee shop was something I believe in. Now, on the other hand, the muffins are not organic.
No.
They are not. They are full
And
of sugar.
there's
You can taste that too.
good for you bagels.
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
when she ran out of the keto bagel, or not keto bagels,
Yeah.
when she ran out of the
Health-
bromate free, healthy for you energy bagels,
no
I was like,
preservatives.
no preservative. I was like, what about these bagels? And she goes, mm-mm. No.
So she wanted me to agree that, and I was like, no, I'm getting away from that. So yeah, you can really taste the difference in those bagels. You know, the filtered water, um, and I believe in the people who have been in business who send those to me for many, many, many years, and it's a Jewish deli, that bakery,
Okay.
and I love what they stand for. I love
Absolutely.
the healthy side of everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And to believe in a company's morals and beliefs,
Mhm.
that brings you back more than their product does, in my opinion. To an extent, I mean, their product is what brings you back because it's good.
Right.
But when it comes to standing with somebody, you're going to stand with them because of what they believe and who they are as a person.
Which that segues into so many different things.
Yes.
Okay.
I accidentally wore my house shoes. I'm sorry. So I'm going to crisscross applesauce.
Accidentally.
We're gonna get comfy.
Accidentally on purpose.
Okay, so welcome to another episode of Big Girl Britches podcast. Today's special guest is Miss Debbie Rowell from. Did I say her last name right?
Yeah, you did.
Good. I always, whenever I talk about
Rowell?
you, I'm like Debbie Rowell, and I was like, and I think about that in my head every single time. I'm like, I've never asked her if that's how you say her name, or if it was something more sophisticated like Rowell.
Oh yeah.
Or
no,
Rowell.
it's just
Rowell.
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 Wow.
I love Debbie. Debbie owns the Coffee Connection here in town. She also owns Acadian Coffee Roasters, right? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
And I don't know if you have any more businesses
Oh, I
that
do.
you want to name drop.
Oh. I love that. She said, oh,
So this is our third episode.
yes.
Super exciting.
Thanks for coming back.
Thank you for coming back, Lacey.
Thank you.
Okay, so we always start, well, I say we always start. This is our only third episode, so we're still novices at this. But we have a couple questions. I feel like am I
I'll
talking
try.
into this microphone?
I will certainly try to answer your questions.
Okay, so
You can do
the last one I asked Caitlin a couple things. What does she do that she gets paid for? And then what do you do that you don't get paid for, like in the community and stuff?
Okay, what I get paid for is to bring coffee to the community and to roast organic coffee and give to the community. That's what I get paid for. What I don't get paid for is sitting there and or meeting someone where they are in their life, where I can just talk with them, chat with them. Maybe they're going through something in their life, or they just need someone to talk to. And I always want to be available for that. I don't get paid for that, and I feel that that is a calling that is above what I do.
Now, you are certified as some sort of counseling, aren't you?
Yes, I am certified in addiction and recovery and first level trauma.
She's like a badass.
No, no. I worked for when I first came into town. I worked worked with a couple of of agencies here, not agencies, but, cross ties. I kind of just donated my time. And I believe in that program. I totally
Now,
believe
what
in
is
that program.
Cross Ties?
Cross Ties is a place where people come that are turning away from addictions, and it is a safe place for them to go. And then we also have a release and refocus at another church, and then I believe there's a program going on at on the other side of town. You're going to have to crop this because I
Grace.
do Grace Church.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, I couldn't think of the church. There's another program at Grace. And there's programs out there, and I feel like I was giving to that for quite some time, and I feel now that I've shifted, and God is taking me in a new direction.
Where are you going now?
I am I am going
You like all these open-ended
more
questions?
in like motivation, and really working together in businesses, with businesses here in town, to learn to collaborate with one another. I mean, we have great businesses here that we have not even touched on, that we need to learn to work together and bring out the best in our community. I am a firm believer that there is unity in community, and working together. I don't care what your religious preferences are. We need to come together. There are a lot of businesses that I feel are suffering right now, and we need to come together and help them.
So, last episode, are we good to go, Dylan?
Are we good?
Okay. Okay, so last time we were talking, we mentioned you in both of our previous episodes.
I heard that.
Unintentionally.
I heard that.
Did you listen to the podcast?
I listen to every podcast. Yes.
So it was unintentional. It just, we use you as an example a couple times. But we were talking about how a corporation is coming in called Starbucks.
Yes.
And we've had so many people telling, like, they know I'm friends with you. And so they're like, oh, is Debbie okay? And I'm like, Debbie's going to be perfectly fine.
Yes.
Like, we know this.
Yes.
And you're a
Yes.
small town, like, we love you, and everybody pours so much because you also pour so much into the community. So maybe your take on, like, put it on the air.
Sure.
About a corporation coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm from California, and there's a Starbucks on every corner, but there's also several small businesses. I learned from someone who was a small business in California, in the Hollywood area, and he is one of the best, if not the best, in my opinion, roaster and coffee connoisseur. So, and then I also, trained under my friend Grace, who owned several coffee shops in Taiwan. So I feel that the corporation coming in, I understand the reason behind, the why behind they're coming in, but I don't even. It's a total different a different vibe than what I'm doing. I feel, and I'm going to get a little spiritual here, because that's what I am.
I'm all about
Right.
it.
But I
That's
feel
where all of my
that I pray about everything. Where
She
does
really
God-
does.
Yeah.
This is not like a joke. Literally, even last night on the phone, I was like, hey, we're still on for tomorrow, right? We're going to record the podcast. And she was joking with me. She's like, let me pray on it. And she's joking because she literally does. She's like, stops everything. And she's like, I'm not actually going to make this decision right now. I'm going to pray on it. And then I'll let you know, which is so, like,
I love that.
different and admirable.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that God has called me to do more than just bring a cup of coffee to this town. I feel that He calls us in our everyday life to do more than what our job is.
Yes.
So when I have people come into the coffee shop and say, I love the energy, I love the vibe that I feel in here, in my heart, I say, thank you, Lord, because they feel
You.
Jesus in
Yes.
there.
Amen.
And that
Oh
is
my
what
gosh.
matters
Yes.
to me.
Look, I just want to cry right
I know.
That's so true.
Listen, I knew Debbie was like the first one there. I was like, okay, we are not going to cry on this podcast. Like, Debbie is not going to be the one
No,
that
that's
causes me to
Jesus
cry on
tears.
this
You
podcast. I can't do it, y'all. I already cried yesterday like a baby at church. Like,
I love those type services where you just like pour your heart out to God, and
Oh.
He's just like, okay, new direction, Debbie. And I feel that this year is my intentional year.
Yes.
Like everything I do is intentional. Is intentional. All right, you guys are crying.
I'm
Yeah,
not
we're crying.
Yesterday we were talking about suffering and suffering well.
Oh yeah.
There's a difference, biblically speaking, about like everyone's going to endure. You're going to suffer, but how are you suffering? Like, are you
Yes.
suffering and like, woe is me? Like, you know, God's doing this to punish me. You know, thinking something ill will is happening, and when it's really it's not. It's all for good.
The Bible says, count it all joy. So everything that we go through, even the hard times, even the suffering, even the ridicule, even whatever we go through, the Word of God says to count it all joy. Are we really at that place in our walk with God and our life that we count everything joy? No. No. Stop and think about it. You know,
I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah.
But it
That's the
doesn't.
goal,
In
but-
the moment when it's happening, you're like, I seek to understand. I'm at that point.
Yes.
I'm at the point where I suffer, and then I'm like, there has to be, like, I'm trying to understand. And honestly, that's the stage in which you have the most, I think, frustration, is because you're looking for a reason. Because you're like, God knows the reason, but you're looking for it as if it's going to be listed somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you're just going to be driving down the road, and it's like,
I'm like, why is this happening? This has to be happening for like a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
And then like the purpose is never revealed to you, like until the end.
Right.
You know, like
5 years later, you're like standing there blow drying, and you're like, oh my gosh,
that epiphany.
Yeah.
it happened.
If that ever even happens. Like, 'cause sometimes, you know, you're just like, oh man.
Yeah.
I chalk it up to.
I saw this thing that was, oh, actually, no, I didn't see this thing. I think one of our pastors at our church preached about this a few Sundays ago. There's a Garth Brooks song, Sometimes I Thank God for Unanswered Prayers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he said there are no unanswered prayers. That just wasn't God's plan.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
not an unanswered prayer.
That's the way you think
wasn't
about it.
That wasn't your, you know, like, this is God's plan, and this is what we do in our life. And so, like, that unanswered prayer wasn't your path. This is your path.
Correct.
But we're over here trying to do it Lacey's way.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this ain't going quick enough. I can do it better.
If it's like Lacey
And
the
then I'm over
Explorer
here-
with your map. As if like.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm over here like, God, you know, show me a sign. Where am I supposed to be? And he's like, over here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Not what you're doing.
not what you're doing.
And when we're on the path, let me just interject this. When we are on the path that God has called us to, He will always direct. He will always guide and bring clarity.
Yes.
But when we are on our path, it's just chaos. It's just
Uh-huh.
everything is
Constantly.
chaotic.
Yep.
So yes, the coffee shop, that coffee shop, yes, I own it. Yes, I manage it. I bring in the things, but actually it is God's place. And that is how I look at it.
I love that.
When I'm
Yeah.
up there by myself and I pray over it, I
Yeah.
like, you know, God, you know who's going to come through the doors,
Mm-hmm.
who I can sit and talk with. You open the door. And He does. He really does.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed, and I was thinking about you this morning. Debbie and I are like really good friends.
Yes.
So I know I mention Debbie all the time. It's not just because I'm like,
I'm brushing my teeth and thinking about Debbie.
it's just because I love Debbie so much and she's just such a mentor. But
Likewise.
she recently did a fast.
Yeah.
Are you okay with me mentioning that?
I'm okay.
I mean, people do fast all the time.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Did you do a 21-day fast?
I do.
Yep, we did one also.
At the first of the year.
Yep.
I had been doing keto for a long time. And then my trainer was like, maybe you should mix it up and do like a 15-hour fast. Okay, that does not work for me because my husband's love language is feeding me. And while he can adjust the things he feeds me, the times in which he feeds me,
he can't adjust.
He can't adjust that. I love him so hard, but he can't. So, and I'm just going to have to go back to like my keto. But what I did notice, which is what I thought about this morning, I have eaten like crawfish 3 times in the past week. My sodium intake is like insanely high, and my water intake is insanely low. And so this morning when I went to the gym, I had to cut my workout short because like I had a massive like headache.
Oh
right?
wow, that's not good. Brittany.
But also, I know. Thank you.
No.
But also, like I faltered a little bit. I think during my getting off of keto, like I had more clarity. This makes more sense. While I was doing keto, I know that's not a big revolutionary thing, but I feel like the discipline I had to show doing very limited diet intake, all of that, I feel like I was, this is gonna sound very biblical, but like I felt like I was closer to God's word.
Yeah.
Sure.
While I was very disciplined in that. And then I was like, maybe that's what Debbie was talking about. And all this clarity, because like when I was eating, not like I was, like I had been, like I had let loose a little bit more, I felt like, I'm not feeling as close.
Right.
You know?
Oh yeah.
When you get discipline of one thing, it's easier to get discipline in other places in your life because you feel this empowerment almost to do it. Like we do a 21-day fast with our church also, and I never feel more connected in my communication with God because we have an open-ended communication, but I don't always feel as connected. And then during that fast, there's not all this confusion and like all this. It's me and God. And you feel like you can, I don't know, hear him better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I spend more time reading my Bible. I spend more time praying.
Well, that is how, God communicates with us is by his word. And I know in fasting, that yes, it's good for the body, but it is also good for our minds and spiritually where we go spiritually and the clarity that comes through that discipline time. There's one of my favorite books ever, and I read it every year, is Hind's Feet on High Places. That book touches my heart every time I read it, and I could almost probably quote it verbatim, but it talks about trusting and nailing our flesh to an altar in order to be who God has called us to be.
Yeah.
It really does. This is how I look at it. I was raised in a preacher's home. So, have I always done things right? Absolutely not. I was a prodigal for many years. So I look at God differently now because back then it was rules, regulations, and this. Now it's my love and me wanting to please him at all times in everything, what I say, what I participate in, who I participate with.
Yes.
It all matters because
does
we get
matter.
one chance
Yep.
here on
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
Because we talk about this often, like you get one chance and we're constantly striving to be like to do the things that we're supposed to be doing, and we're all human.
Absolutely.
And we all falter.
Oh my goodness.
So when you falter, how do you deal with that internally?
How do I deal with that internally? Well, first of
Do you
all,
beat yourself up?
no,
Is that
no. I'm very sorrowful. And I go to God and I say, God, look, I really failed you in this situation. Like I made a big mistake. Like,
Right.
this is a mistake, God, that only you can fix.
Right.
And you can help me. And I asked him to forgive me. And then I got to get up and believe that
Yes.
that is done. It's over with. I've repented. Now, the consequences of whatever I've done may follow, and I have to be big enough to
Right.
to walk through those consequences. But I feel that I really, yes, I fail. I
Yeah.
am not perfect. I will be the first to tell you that. But I really do try in
Right.
everything I do. Like,
Yeah.
what would Jesus do in this situation?
Yes.
How would Jesus handle this situation
Right.
with this person,
Right.
know?
I'm glad that you brought that subject up because that's something my husband has talked about. Is he doesn't think people nowadays understand repentance and repenting for a sin, and it's you like you said, you say, God, I did this wrong, I'm sorry, please forgive me. But then after that, we have to make a lifestyle change to not keep. If you, Brittany, I'm so sorry I told all of your business to everyone. Will you still be my friend? Brittany!
Okay, and
I'm so sorry that
I've talked
told
with
all
Debbie
your
about this at
business.
lengths.
Yes.
I said, I've talked about boundaries,
Yes.
forgiveness and boundaries. So I think, and even I have historically thought, because I forgive someone, it's like letting it be okay that they did it, or a lot of people want retribution for that
Yeah.
or something. Or they want somebody to get on their knees and apologize to you or whatever, but that's not
I'm not
it at
getting
all.
on my knees for anyone but the good Lord. But
Right.
Continue.
But
to beg for, like.
yeah, no, I forgiveness for me is forgiving, moving on, moving past it, and then creating a boundary, though, because you're not going to do that to me again.
Yeah.
Boundaries are healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Boundaries are healthy.
And so while people have done things in my mind that I'm like, that's not okay. They've done that to me, said it to me, whatever. And I've forgiven and I've moved on. And I've even discussed these multiple situations at length with Debbie. And I said, I just hope they have changed. I hope they have gotten closer to God and they have actually changed and not just said it.
Yeah.
Because so many people have a moment where they get close to God, or they have this moment, like this epiphany where they're going to be a changed person, and then they don't actually change. It's short-lived. It's
Right.
5 minutes of tears and sorrowful, but then the next morning they wake up and they do the same stuff, different day.
Yeah.
And
And that's between them and God.
Well,
What God
yes.
has done in your life is say,
and this is what she tells me.
what God has, and I really have, like Brittany, and I have had some very deep conversations about God. And I tell her this all the time. I say, where God is taking you, maybe not be necessarily where the other person, individual, is going, but you are learning this journey with God. This is between you and God. Where they are, that is not your business. That is not my business. But where God is taking us, we have to be, ready and available, and be like, okay, this is where God's taking us. And I see, Brittany, I'm gonna kind of brag on you a little bit, okay, in a good way.
I'm
have
uncomfortable.
I have seen for the past probably 3 or 4 months, Brittany just rise to the occasion in her walk with God and where she is and the questions that she has. Really, she'll want to sit down, have lunch, and we talk about some hard things. And I would never, ever discuss those with anyone else because she told those to me in confidence.
Absolutely.
But I have seen her here lately grow in God, and where she is now today and where she was 4 months ago is a big change. And Brittany, your motives and everything about you screams, I want to do what God has called me to do. And I'm so grateful, of seeing this. And she's crying.
She's booing.
Why am I the first one?
It's a good thing. It's a
Yeah.
good thing. Growth is hard, and her and I have had that conversation. Growth is hard. It is difficult. But doing it where
Yeah.
God takes us is just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing in Him.
Yeah.
Now that I can gather myself.
I didn't mean to make you cry.
I know, it's just, I love Debbie, and her saying something so nice makes me cry. Okay. Anyway, back to
A question.
a question for Debbie.
Okay.
We
Okay.
segue so much.
We will get off on these tangents, and then Brittany will start crying, apparently.
I
Okay.
know.
I used to be I'm so much more weak sauce now. Like, I will cry at the drop of a hat. If I hear, oh my gosh, there's just certain songs that will come on. If I've already done my makeup and I have places to go and people to see, I will have to turn the music to next, because the
Yeah.
first 5 seconds I'm like, no, this is that song that
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry, so I have to turn
Well,
it. I'm
that's
just weak
why
sauce
I
now.
cried
I
in
know.
the first 5 minutes of this, because in the car, it's the song, it's 'Cause Somebody Prayed,
Yes.
and he's talking about God meeting you where you are.
Sure.
And then Miss Debbie goes, you get to meet people where they are. And I just looked at her like, oh my God.
You're like, were you in my
Were you
car?
in my car? No, but God was.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he's in
Absolutely.
you, so he taught, like
Ugh.
little God
Absolutely.
winks. Those happen all the time.
Absolutely.
There are so many good questions like coming in.
Ooh.
Nobody put these on the form. They
They just put them on our
they all
Facebook
put them on the
post.
Facebook post.
Okay.
Okay. So I am going to ask you one of the ones I'm going to be consistent about with.
Sure.
What's the best thing you've ever done for your business?
The best thing I've ever done is collaboration with other businesses.
Man, look, that was Lacey's answer too.
Yes.
Like truly the best thing I have ever done is showing the community that we can work together.
We can.
I don't care what your business is. We can work together. We can
even
find a
incorporated
common.
the crawfish to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Sadie so much.
Yes.
And they never get included in anything because they're ours.
And they were so
they're seasonal.
grateful. She was just like, "Thank you for asking us."
Yeah.
She was just.
I picked up crawfish
yeah.
yesterday. I told you I've had
So
too
did-
much sodium intake.
So did we. That's
So
why.
did we.
Because it's crawfish season, that's what we do. But I drove through the drive-thru yesterday and I picked up my sack of live crawfish, which I made John go get it out of the back of my car because they were making noise. And they
Yeah.
were crawling around.
No,
and
no,
everything.
no.
And I was like, I can't do this. This is my nightmares. And they were like, help me. Anyway, so when I was going through the drive-thru, I got to see Sadie. And she was like, I just wanted you to know that, like, your light shines so bright. And, like,
Oh,
you just need to
that's
keep doing
awesome.
what you're doing. I'm going to cry again. Oh, my gosh.
Yes,
And it was
that
just such a nice thing to say. Like, people just underestimate the power
Of a
of
kind word.
kindness so often.
Yes.
And I know I, like, say it all the time because sometimes I'm funny about it because I think a lot of people, it makes them uncomfortable when you're straight up genuine and kind.
Sure.
So sometimes I like to put a fun spin on it. I'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, man, your butt looks so good today. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I try to make it funny, but I want to
Yeah.
make a positive impact, and not everybody is full on prepared to
Yes.
be like, your smile is just gorgeous.
Yeah, I
Right.
have
And
thrown
it's-
people off being like, wow, your eyes are so pretty. You're
Right.
Like, you're so
But not
gorgeous,"
everybody
or-
is ready to withstand like
Right.
deep compliments like
Yeah.
that. So I try to lighten them up once in a while, and I'm like, dang girl, you looking so hot today.
Yes.
Or
You
like your
looking
butt looks so
good,
good.
mama.
But the intent is still there. Like
Sure.
I still like, man, the kindness is just
Yes.
incredibly underrated.
Yes, I believe that. I believe that we have a choice every morning when we get up, to either let the light of Jesus shine so bright that people don't see us, but
I
they
want the
see
devil
him.
to be like, I want him to be so
She's
mad I'm
awake.
awake. Yes. Be
Yes.
like, oh man.
Yes.
Look,
she's
one of
awake."
my biggest prayers for myself is God, please, if nothing else, please let your light be shown through me. Or please let me somehow, even if I don't know that I'm doing it, spread your light.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Or
like,
create an environment. Like,
yes.
I know we're talking about Debbie again. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
But like,
Miss
create an
Debbie.
environment. Like, and not just Debbie's, like, even in my own business, I started my business out of a really dark, like, part of my life. And so I wanted
Same.
my business to be this safe space.
Yeah.
I literally called it like a fortress, you know?
Yeah.
And I, like, even tell my staff, like, you're not allowed to be grumpy in here. Like,
Yeah.
you can have all of the worldly problems outside of here, and, like, because everybody has stuff, you know? But once you come in, because I need that, like, and I'm not saying that for, honestly, I'm being selfish. I need that as a safe place and a happy place to come to when the world is just really too much.
Yes.
Because honestly, there's just periods in my life that have just been too much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's too much.
And
you
that's
need
why-
somewhere where you can go.
Yes. And like
Yeah.
hairstylists
Yeah.
are just a whole new realm of like therapy,
Yeah.
because you go and sit in your chair and you're just kind of like, and I don't know why it is. There's no NDA. No one has signed.
But that's
No
you
one
gotta
has
think
signed any
that's the
paperwork.
only time where me and you sit 1-on-1 where we can have like our
Mhm.
heart to hearts.
Yes.
Because I call it gossip, but it really is like soul searching.
Yeah.
Some heart to heart conversations, but I call it gossip because it's our gossip. You know, like me and you.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, well I've been struggling with this. Da, da, da,
There's
you know.
things that I will regurgitate, and I do this to Debbie too, because her environment is so like,
Yeah.
welcoming and open. Well, we're also friends, but like
Yeah.
I imagine it's because I sit down in your chair and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna tell her some stuff right now, like that I'm not gonna I haven't told anybody else lately, and I'm like, but it's a safe space, but you will also, there's moments that you'll be like, yeah, girl, totally, and then there's moments where you're like, is that a good idea though?
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
second
That's a
guessing
good
ourselves?
friend. That'll tell
That's a
you
good
what
friend.
what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think that about you too. Like, that's why, like, I'll come to you about a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, hey, especially business moves, because you are my friend, but you are a business mentor to me because you've been in the game.
We're just
a
all
lot
paying
longer.
each other compliments on this
I
episode.
know, but you are a
We should call
business-
this the compliment.
the compliment couch.
And I love compliments. That's so nice.
That's
yes,
great.
but you are, especially mine and Riley's. We talk about you a lot. Our business mentor. So I'll come to you about stuff, and you've been like, yeah, do it, or you've been like, are you sure?
Or tweak
You know,
it.
yeah, or like, what if you do this? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually a really good idea. Like, you got to be open to constructive criticism from your
Yeah.
friends, maybe. Not
Well, because I'm
criticism,
not
but-
in the same industry as you.
right
So when you tell me business ideas, I think like
consumer,
as a consumer.
right?
And I tell you all the time, I'm like, as a consumer, you should market this more. Like
Yeah.
the fact that I go get my hair washed and styled every single week.
Yeah.
Like I just washed my hair this morning because Lacey doesn't work on
She
Mondays.
was so mad about it.
I had to wash my hair this morning.
I got you coffee though.
It's like I'm living with the peasants. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's literally only $25 to go, which is super affordable in comparison with so many other places.
So I look at that as a consumer side also.
Yes.
Because $40-$50 to get your hair washed and styled. Are some places worth it? A different environment? Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe. But as a consumer, nah.
But
But if it's $20-$25, I'm probably going to tip you $15 to $20, so there's your $40.
well, there's
You know?
there's other things to, now that we're talking business, there's other things to compare though, when I would be willing to spend that much money because you're flexible in your schedule. I can
Right.
literally text you the night before and say, hey, do you have time to squeeze me in?
Yeah.
And you do, because it's just a wash and
Right.
hair and blow dry and like style.
Yeah. 30
So
minutes, if
honestly, cost is less, and not trying to sound bougie, but cost is less an objective because you give value. I'm able to call you the night prior to see if you have availability.
Right.
I know that you take care of my extensions anyway, so you're
Right.
going to do a really good job. And you're also, if there's anything wrong with them, you'll like tweak that real quick.
Yeah.
And you'll send me on my way, and I don't have to do that thing that is, bothering me, or not bothering me, but it's just another thing I have to do on my list, and you take care of it for me. Just like when you're going, like, coffee, Debbie serves organic coffee, so it is a little pricier than other coffee that was not organic. But you can walk in, you can see behind a glass wall, she'll be back there in her tennies, like roasting, or in her house shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what I wore that day.
Roasting.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you can literally see the process, and you get value from it. And, like, her baristas are just so incredibly nice. Like, again, kindness, man.
Yeah.
They're so when you go above and beyond and you provide value and kindness, your customers appreciate you so much more. I'd never even look at the screen when I pay. Like, people will be like, "How much is a cup of coffee at Debbie's place?" I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, and that's what people have said to me, like, coming in and buying a 20-ounce latte. Okay, first of all, there's 3 shots of espresso in it. That is our in-house organic 3-origin coffee bean, plus a chocolate power bean that is incorporated into that. And then we are a powder-based company. We don't put a lot of sugars, a lot of, everything is pure cane, everything is kosher. So when you stop, all your taxes are included into that. Everything is included into that price. So really, if you go to a competitor, you get, okay, well, I only pay $6.50 for this, but by the time you put an extra 4 pumps of sugar, in your coffee, and then your milk, plus we don't charge for milk alternatives. Like we don't.
Because what's in these? Because I drink the keto.
So that
drinks.
is heavy whip.
Okay.
We don't charge extra for that. So
a lot of places will probably.
Yeah, no, we don't. So everything is included in the price, and when it's all said and done, it's basically
the same.
The same. It really is.
But there's a difference, because if you were to go to Starbucks and get a coffee,
or Dutch Brothers, or any of them, not just Starbucks, but all of them.
But if you were to go to a chain,
yes,
I'll say that.
Yes.
If you were to go to a chain, you're like, I don't know, just it tastes a little more like syrupy to me, or like oily when I drink other like chain coffee drinks now. As opposed to like organic,
greasy,
I'm spoiled
like there's
by
a
that.
grease film on your.
Yeah, and I described it to her too. I went out of town and I was like, I had to get a chain drink, and I don't know if it was Starbucks or if it was Dutch Brothers. I think it was Dutch Bros, because I went out of town and Heather. Oh yeah, my bestie Heather in Texas loves Dutch Bros.
Yes,
but I had like an oily, and I told her about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, that's the bean." You said something about the bean, but
yes.
Man, where was I going with this? My brain. No, but we were talking about value of your brand and everything. Oh, that's right. So when you go and you're investing in a chain, they're never going to invest in you or your community.
No.
Like, and I can't say this enough about small business. And I know we're a podcast full of like small business owners and I know we talked about this the last time, but the juice is worth the squeeze when you're investing in your community with small business, because who are you going to come to when you need a sponsorship for your son's little league team? When you are when you're thinking about, do you know how many people have asked me, and I'm sure y'all have gotten this too, but like I get people asking me questions all the time about opening up a business and like advice on opening a business. Like, I don't know of any corporations around here that are going to give you any startup advice.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because there is a coffee shop that is coming in to DeQuincy, and they bought my equipment, because I do own another business. I have a business partner that we sell equipment that goes in coffee shops. So the grinder and the espresso machines and get shipped there. I go put it in, I calibrate it, I train their baristas, I put their menu together. I want she is not my competition.
No.
I want her to succeed in all she does.
Yes.
This coffee shop coming in and into DeQuincy, that's going into DeQuincy, is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Are they going to do the same thing we do? No. Or vice versa.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be a good coffee shop. She is
Yeah.
a small business. I want her to succeed.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to give my talent and the things that I can do to help her grow.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Even if she were to be coming here to DeRitter, she would still be doing something different, and
Something
it's a
totally
small
different.
business. And I think,
Yeah.
like, and I was reading questions earlier about the whole compete versus compare. I think people are so stuck in that mindset of competition and comparison. Like, I keep blinders on, and I've talked about this at length with other people, but like, even with Molly, so we have another gift shop in town, or I'm not a gift shop, I'm a full blown, like, animal with like clothing and everything, but
You're like a Bucky's.
like a Bucky's. Oh my gosh.
Bucky's, everything.
Boutique.
Well, and I've talked about this with her at length. I'm like, I keep blinders on. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
because honestly, I don't have time to pay
Right.
attention to what anyone else is doing.
Well, I got off. I'm glad you said that because I'm going to interject something.
Do
I
it.
got off of DeRitter information.
Oh,
that
because
is
and
toxic.
people, it's just to
It's
me,
toxic.
it's
So toxic.
it's
Oh.
so it just when you read the negativity and I want to be positive, so people will screenshot and send me something, and I'm like, thank you.
You know, you know what? Some actionable items. Some actionable items that people can get from this podcast to be a happier, healthier you. Number one, get off DeRitter information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or anything on social media that is drawing your attention away from your mission.
Yes.
Just go outside and get a breath of fresh air and look up at the sky and just talk to God for a minute and you'll feel reconnected.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't feel that. Now, I'm not talking against DeRitter information because there are a lot of good things I'm sure on there. But for
advertise
me,
there for free
There's
all
an
the time.
overwhelming amount of negativity that comes
not
off there.
everyone is going to see it, in a positive light. So therefore, I'm going to separate myself from
Right.
that because
I
it
don't wanna
is
see
not
it.
good for me.
No.
It isn't good for me. So, I have found that works for me.
Yeah.
And I think we're just using that as an example. But
Yeah.
like, honestly, and I've said this before, I think on our first episode maybe, where I will unfriend or block
Yeah.
certain pages or people who I repetitively see just blast negativity all over the place
Yes.
because I have to be on social media for work.
Sure.
So if I have to be in an environment where I have to do that for work, I definitely don't want to be inundated with a bunch of negativity all the time. So I use that as a boundary. I'm not being mean.
Do you
You can
wanna
say
share-
whatever you want to say,
You want to know
just not on my space. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
a
absolutely.
social media boundary I have recently set that's going to upset a lot of people?
What?
Even if you're local, if you send me a friend request and you're naked, not naked, full naked, but you're very
Who
provocative,
is
I
what?
probably don't accept it because, like, you gotta love yourself more. One. And two, I don't want to get on Facebook and see your boobies.
Well, it's so funny because I will stay off of Facebook. Like I just go
Yeah.
on to maybe read a few things or post something motivational or something,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, Kawasaka sent you a friend
yeah.
request, and I'm
Yeah.
like, who is this?
They want to
delete.
sell you
They're-
beans.
And then I'm like, no, thank you. And then Suma Wuku,
Mine's always a
and-
widower.
and they're from DeRitter, and I'm like,
Yeah.
who? What?
Yeah.
No,
I'm
these,
like-
I mean, this, I just,
I just don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't
Not
need
anybody.
I don't
Yeah.
need 5,000 friends.
Right.
I love everyone across
Yeah.
the
See,
board,
mine's
but I have
public,
very
so I pretty much just approve anybody
Oh, yeah.
unless, and I do vet them. I will go through and I don't know. Half of my friends list I don't know.
Right.
It's just I own a business and people
Yeah.
want to be
right.
which I don't know why you want to be friends because everything of mine is public.
yeah.
There's nothing hidden. So
Right.
I don't do like a friends only post or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I will scan, and if I scan your like recent posts
Mhm.
and you're on there in everyone else's business but your own, also not friending you.
Yeah.
And and that's another thing we talked about yesterday, Lacey and I, when you're investing all of your time in what, and I think this is an example of what the dirt or information thing was, but if you're investing your time in what's going on with everyone else's life and you believe you have like like everyone needs to listen to all of your commentary on what everyone else is doing all of the time, I no longer trust what you actually. I don't know what you believe. Like, what do you value, or
Like,
what
do you
Right.
stand
what do
for?
you stand
You've
for?
got to stand for something, or you'll
Fall for anything.
You've got to.
Well,
I can sing the whole song because the whole song is true.
Well, this is what this is where I go with that. Is we are to fill our minds daily with the things that which is good. Think on these things.
Yeah.
This is scriptural. Okay, so you know me. I'm going to take a turn here.
Let's
Right.
go.
We are going to
Buckle up.
fill our mind with good. We are
Yes.
going to fill our mind with things that are positive. We're going to fill our mind daily. And if you have negativity, if you are trying to, do something in the community and you're reading negativity, then you're going to get
You're gonna
caught
breathe.
up
Right.
with that in that.
Right.
And so I choose, for me, for Debbie, I choose not to participate in that.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is on the same page. Not everyone's
Yep.
on the same journey. That's okay.
That's okay.
Our common ground is we live in a great community, in a great town. Let's make it great.
Let's make
So
it great.
I try to find a common ground in everything I do with
Yeah.
people who see differently.
Yeah.
I'm very political. I have to watch who I talk to,
Right.
but I will voice my opinion in a heartbeat on
Right.
politics. But if you disagree with me, that's okay.
Oh yeah.
That is
That is
okay.
healthy.
That's called flavor.
So I actually I have to share this exchange because I went to high school with this girl and she would not mind me sharing. This all stems from podcasting.
oh, I got very scared very quickly.
No.
I was like, what are we
She
sharing
would not
right now?
mind me sharing at all. Me and her were great friends in high school, and her path in life led her to be an atheist.
Okay.
I have always been Southern Baptist, always been, I was a teenager, I strayed, but I've always been a Christian.
Yes.
I've always been Lacey. So, February 3rd, 2016, I sent her this meme, and I said, me and you in high school. My best friend is an atheist, but whenever she's comforting me with something in my life, she uses examples of God to help me because she knows it makes me feel better and vice versa. When I comfort her, I don't bring up God because I respect that it's not something that helps or works for her. I feel like this is a model of how the world should work. She knew where I stood. She knew my beliefs. And when I was having a bad time, she would send me, like she would look up scriptures or something. And she'd be like, I don't know, but this is what,
Right.
And when I was comforting her, I would be like, I'm going to pray for you. But I wouldn't be like, God, but,
Right.
So she said, LOL at our last exchange. I've been exploring my faith so much more since having my babies. I love the podcast. I love what you're doing in the area. And I
Told you.
yeah. And I love that.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah, she said it's she's had such a softening of her heart, and it's just incredible to hear the things we're doing in our community. Yeah. It is so true what you say about the area having such a bad rep, as if the community isn't the reason for the bad rep. Like, y'all are just bitter and upset. It takes effort and passion to make your town enjoyable. I really applaud y'all for making that effort.
Oh.
But she was all of that. This relationship with God that she is building, y'all, is almost 20 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
And not to like toot my own horn to say like I've been there through it, whatever, and I may have a part of it, but don't give up. Like, the light that you shine, just because your friends don't feel the same, doesn't mean you're not making some kind of difference in their life.
No.
I haven't talked to this girl in 10 years, aside from a few Facebook comments, and we are making a difference in her life.
But Lacey, let me tell you something. You found a common ground with her.
Yeah.
And you did not push your faith.
No.
You were true.
Yes.
Transparent.
Consistent
friend.
Yes.
And
I mean, that's what
that is where, that is beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I think this podcast is more than just.
Debbie just told me this like 2 days ago.
2 days
ago. Okay.
She said.
I think I sent it to you in a text.
She said, I'm not going to read it.
Okay.
Like,
no. Sorry, I didn't mean to read all of our
Debbie and I get
excited.
like real spiritual in all of our text messages. But like she's pretty much said, I think you're thinking this is just a podcast, Brittany, but it's not. Like, and because we started this just because I needed some backlinks for my SEO, for my website, and marketing people were like, hey, you need to think about sponsoring a podcast or like being on a podcast or hosting a podcast, like some sort of platform where you're on multiple different places and we can find your website pretty much. And I was like, well, I don't want to sit here and have to chase after people to let me sponsor things or to like, hey, can I be a host? Can I be a guest on your podcast? Like that just seems very to me. So, and it sounded like a really fun idea, and you know me. Mm-hmm. If it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. But if it's fun, I'm right there.
Sure, yes.
So I was sitting in Lacey's chair one day.
I thought about it. It was such a funny exchange.
And I was like, do you know anybody that has a podcast? And she's like, no, but we could make one.
I love it.
And I was like, oh my gosh, we would be dynamic with doing my hair and like owning a boutique.
And then I didn't even know like Dylan did this. That is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think he did this before, but he definitely does it now.
Oh my goodness, the talent and like I've listened to your episodes and
the commercial
and
like,
the commercial
isn't that cool in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like
this is amazing, and for him to his talents.
Look, she's bragging on Dylan. Good job, Dylan.
This episode of Big Girl Britches is brought to you by Face the Facts with Liv. Hey Big Girl Britches listeners, are you ready to pamper yourself like the fabulous queens you are? Liv at Face the Facts with Liv offers a little slice of heaven. Raved about facials that will leave your skin glowing and feeling brand new. Seriously, your skin will thank you. Waxing services to keep you smooth and sassy. Permanent cosmetics for that flawless look, always on point and never having to worry about smudging. Lash lifts and tints that'll have your lashes reaching for the stars. Book your appointment today at 337-226-5981 or follow her on Facebook at Face the Facts with Liv. Now back to Big Girl Britches.
But sorry, I took a turn there. But I'm just saying that, I think it honestly, I feel that this is it's more than just a podcast. And, I really believe that.
Yeah.
I want this area, and I'm not from here, y'all.
Right. Mm-hmm. Neither
I think
am I.
people think we are from here
Yeah.
because we're so passionate about this town.
They're like, California, what in the world are you doing here?
I do have questions. How did you end up here? Sorry, you have to finish your sentence, but I wanted to know.
Well, I think people think we're from here because we're so passionate about like building up this town and building the people up inside of it. And oftentimes like I'm met with negativity about this town, and oftentimes those people are from here or transient with the military community because they were told, they had this predisposed idea that this area was going to be just nothing, like a wasteland or whatever. And then the people that are from here, they just can't see the forest for the trees because they've been in it for so long. And I've lived in, just like Debbie, like we've lived in large scale places.
Yeah.
I've lived in like 11 different places over, my 30 some years. But this is by far my favorite. The people are just so, like, if you meet them, and I think this is just a life thing in general, but if you meet people with intention and like kindness and love, if you see somebody's face that just looks like they're not having a an amazing day
Mm-hmm.
instead of ignoring them because you're thinking, oh, they're in their own stuff right now.
Sure.
I'll just ignore them because you think you're doing them a service by letting them just sit in that by
Let 'em
themselves.
rot.
I don't do that. Literally, the other day, and hopefully she's okay with me sharing this, but like, and I won't share her name, but someone that we know in town came into your shop, your coffee shop, and I was sitting there on my laptop, and she just looked stressed, overwhelmed. And I mean, obviously we were sitting in a good vibe place, but she walked in and I was like, "Hey, you having an okay day? How are you? You look fabulous. I've seen some things that you're doing around town. Like, I'm so happy for you, And she was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you for saying that because I've been feeling, some sort of way." And she went into detail about like she wasn't in a good place, and like I kept engaging with that, and I think she left like smiling and feeling so much better.
Sure.
Which makes me feel like, man, I hope I made an impact on that girl
Yes.
today. Like, she can go out and have a good day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the thing I always tell Brittany, and I tell quite a few women, business owners, that every day we ask God to order our steps. Who's
going to be in your path
going to be
today?
in our path that we can make a difference? Do I not say that? I say that every day. Okay, God, you know who is going to be in my path today. Order my steps, whatever I do.
It's
let
not
it
happenstance.
be. No. And I believe that. I believe that was a God ordained moment.
Oh yeah,
I
you
believe
being
in
here
this.
today was ordained. Like, I already know.
Yes. Okay.
I told
Well,
Caitlin this.
Wow.
She said, we were talking about the podcast and how it's going and everything. And she said, I think our conversations about our faith really opened up a new era,
Yes.
and you being on today is just sort of like,
Wow.
ah.
Well, I love Caitlin. I love what the chamber is doing. I'm telling you, our town,
I'm so excited.
our community, because of where we are, it's because those ladies work endlessly behind the
Yes.
scenes. I mean, constantly.
Yeah.
Just doing for our community. I cannot give them enough praise.
Oh yeah.
They are amazing. Amazing.
And I'll be honest, I used to think all the chamber did was party plan.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I
Right.
said it a couple times, and I was like, I just can't. They asked if I was renewing after like my first year, like 3 years ago, and I was like, I'm not really sure because I mean, when you're a new business, you're also assessing all your finances.
Right.
What am I spending money on? Is it worth my time? You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So after the first year, and they weren't doing the level of stuff that they were doing right now, to be totally
Right.
honest. But back then, I was reevaluating all of my finances, and they were like, "Are you going to renew?" And I was like, "Well, why should I?" And they said, "Listen, we're doing so many things for the parish. We're trying to like lift us up to another level."
Yeah. To another level.
Yeah.
I mean, it is incredible what they're doing. It's incredible.
And it's not just those girls, though. Like, I see it, and the people listening to this are probably like, "Are y'all done bragging on our area yet?"
No.
I'm not done yet, because
We'll never be done.
it's not, no, I'll never, no.
No.
This is, like, constant work, and that's the thing. There are so many people in our community who are so invested, and I love to see it. I mean,
My
not to
neighbor.
name drop any names, but like, have you seen what Danny's been doing with these buildings and restoring things downtown?
Oh my goodness.
And like the way,
Incredible.
just the facelift that
Yeah.
a couple buildings
That's
can have.
Danny Reynolds doing that?
That's Danny Reynolds doing that.
He's running for...
He's running for
Okay.
mayor in March.
I'm not plugging. I'm genuinely...
Sure.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
If
No.
if we had boys on the podcast, I'd ask him to come sit on the podcast.
Oh, my husband is so salty. He said that was a mistake. And I said, well, if
No.
you're that upset about it, then you and Darryl should go rent some space from Dylan.
Oh my gosh.
There we go. And start a
They should
Two
start a podcast.
blue-collar Republican men on
Oh,
a
my
podcast.
goodness.
I would hide in a closet.
I
I would be so afraid of what Darryl would
Because
say
look,
on
they're going to get in an argument, and Daryl's going to be excited, and Eric's going to break out the Bible.
Oh
There
my
we go.
And be
gosh.
like, here's the facts. And Daryl's going to be like, yeah!
I love it.
I would hide in a closet.
I love it. I love it. So you are getting feedback from the community.
We're getting
questions
so
and
much
things
feedback.
Like that.
So much feedback.
Okay,
That's
so
awesome.
for example, I'm going to give you, and you can answer these as quickly or as
Okay.
length as you like to. But okay, one of them says, professional / business owner woman in a small community staying. Okay, this is essentially a question.
Yes.
Staying small and not attracting attention versus chasing success and dodging arrows. Because, mo money, mo problems, I guess, is the whole thing. Is the hustle worth it?
I don't look at it as a hustle. I look at it like seriously. Like this is how I view this, is that I am professional.
Yeah.
And there are times that I dress professional, but then there's times I will put my hat on
Right.
and I will come out and I will get out there and paint fire hydrants with the rest of the town.
Right.
That's going to be fun.
I'm so excited.
Wait,
about
when
it.
is that?
Okay, so listen. Okay.
So
Okay.
you
I
can be
love. Please,
professional.
I want. This is
So,
like my heart. I want to.
So Debbie and I are very passionate about our community.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I love volunteering, so please include me.
So Debbie had been inviting me to the Lions Club lunches for like
Okay.
a month and a half, 2 months
I believe
now.
in what they do in this
Okay.
community.
And
Right.
so, and really, it was just an opportunity for me to have lunch with Debbie again, because we will see each other for like breakfast, and then we'll see each other again for lunch. Like, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Y'all
are codependent. It's okay.
Two women-owned businesses who make their own schedule. We go do whatever we want all the time. So anyway, she's been inviting me to these Lions meetings, and they are Wednesdays at noon at Tony's. And I love Mexican food also, so win-win. But she would invite me, and so they talk about events in the community, not just philanthropic events, but also like just what's going on in the community to make sure everybody's staying well informed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started going along with her to these, and finally, they're doing eye checks at daycares, and they're doing an eye check at Olive's daycare. And so I was like, oh, sign me up, but you need to be a member to go do that. So I signed up to be a member,
Yes.
and I joined the Lions Club
I love that.
with Debbie. And so one of the events that's coming up is that we're going to go paint the fire hydrants in town. So now you have to join us on Wednesdays at noon.
Can you bring a friend to paint fire hydrants?
Yes, I think
Yes,
so.
of
But
course.
now
Why
you need to
not?
join the Lions,
okay.
though, so we can...
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
No,
Like-
y'all don't understand. Like, it sounds like I'm being fake
Wednesdays at noon. It's in the back room at Tony's. You just you come in and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the Lions meeting," and if you don't know where the back room is, they'll take you.
giddy. Yeah.
It's at noon on Wednesdays.
Wow.
So if anybody wants to get involved in their community,
Y'all, and if you have
You're
time
invited.
on your hands, and it's not even that I have time on my hands, because what is that? But if you are struggling with a purpose, find something to volunteer.
Oh,
Whether
yes.
it's
Oh, yeah.
volunteering in your church nursery, whether it's going to the park and picking up trash in a bucket while your
Yes.
kids play,
Yes.
or painting fire hydrants, or going to the beach and cleaning up, saving the turtles, anything, y'all. It
Yes.
is so humbling.
Yes, very much
And it's so fun.
yeah,
Like,
it is.
I love, that is where my heartbeat is like community service projects.
Yes.
So I'm coming to a meeting, and I want to
Good.
sign up to paint.
Wednesday.
Good. Wednesday.
Wednesday
Tony's
at
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 noon.
12
noon.
o'clock.
Okay.
Yes.
Look,
Yes.
we got a new
Look,
member
we are
coming.
going to be the new generation of Lions Club. I'm from Leesville, and the Leesville, the Lions Club is huge. They have the camp and all that. So,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
like the Lions because, as a business owner, if you can just tell me in the future a day and a time, like, and it's a small, little thing, and it's not. I mean, Wednesdays at lunch for us, that's already a time dedication. But if you were to just say like, oh, we're gonna paint, the fire hydrants on this date at this time, I can manage that in my
Yes.
schedule. Something that takes up lots of time and I have to be super consistent with every week is harder for me.
yes.
So I like Lions because they're literally like, hey, we're going to go do these eye checks on this day at this time at this location, and it's just the one time.
And
Yeah.
it's just volunteering, giving back to the community.
Yeah.
The fire hydrants. Have
fun.
you seen those fire hydrants?
Yeah.
I
I was listening to this dumb remark. I said, can we paint them pink?
I don't know. What did he say? I don't
He
remember.
said, ma'am, they are regulated. They have to be red. because they're a fire hydrant.
No,
And I
in
like.
some towns they have art. The kids come from high schools and paint the hydrants.
I
right?
don't think that's a thing. I don't know. I asked if we could paint them pink, and he was like, "Ma'am, no, they have to be red."
You know what I'm thinking about?
That's a code thing.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking about? Do you know? Okay, so like in Orange, Texas, there's oranges all over
When
the
Lacey
town.
gets really excited, she gets very close to her mic, and then Dylan's job gets harder.
Sorry. In Orange, Texas, they have like oranges all over the town. And by Toledo Bend, they have like basses all over the town, and they're painted different things. So we need to get cement watermelons and put them all over to Ritter, and businesses can donate
Because the
to
watermelon
paint them
festival?
however they want. Yeah,
Well, I guess
or a dragon.
no.
What would the Ritter? What would we
A
put?
tree maybe,
A tree.
because like a tree statue.
Yeah,
Because
and
this
then
is
you
where
paint
Burger
it.
Parish is where
Mhm.
money
The
grows on
forestry.
trees.
Money grows on trees. Okay,
and
yeah.
and Caitlin added a line. What was it? She said about our roots.
And our roots run deep.
And our
Yes.
roots run deep.
Mhm.
I'll never
So-
forget that because I was like, amen.
Yeah.
Good.
So if we
Um,
could just get some statues of trees, and
the
then you can.
businesses pay to get it, and then they paint it how
That'd
they
be
want.
cool.
And then it's a competition, and the business can win like a little plastic piece of ship. Have you ever been on a cruise where they're
Piece
like,
of ship?
you win a plastic piece of ship for playing bingo on the cruise?
I've never
And
won
it's a
piece of
plastic
shit.
ship
I've never-
trophy. No, on Carnival Cruise Line.
Oh, maybe I
That
have.
was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That was my
I don't
honeymoon.
remember that.
They might have changed things since
Oh my
then.
gosh. So yes, get involved in our community, y'all.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's so fun.
Absolutely.
Okay. Another one. Let's see. When someone speaks negatively of you, how do you respond?
I don't.
Well, like really, no response.
Going with
You know,
kindness.
this is what I say. If someone speaks negative against me to someone, they aren't telling me, so that's
You
none
can't
of my
address it.
business.
Yeah,
I can't
it's not my
address it.
business.
Yeah.
And this is what I say. People don't know me to that
Mhm.
level that
Yes.
they can speak, you know, negative.
Well, people think that they have this notion about not you specifically.
yeah, no.
But they have this idea of people, and then they just speak negatively,
Yeah.
and it's like they don't even know that person well enough to
Right.
make that kind of
Yeah.
snap
Right.
judgment.
So, you know, I just, I stay out of it. If you know, their issue is between them and their self and their heart and God. It's not with me. I am just the outlet. And
Yeah.
so I just try to stay away from it. And I did. I had someone who spoke you know, negative, and people felt it, you know, their business to come and tell me. And I said, you know, I said, I don't know where that's coming from, but I have nothing to say about this because I don't know them and they don't know me. So where they're basing this opinion on is, you know, their reality. Their perception is their reality, and I left it alone. And I see that person and I smile, and they don't
with
know that I
kindness.
know, and I'm very kind with
And
them.
you don't even know if half of that is true.
Correct.
People
So
love to start
I
things.
don't. I just say that's none of my business.
And half
I
of
don't.
it might not even be true,
Yeah,
or
I
it
don't.
might have been misconstrued.
Absolutely.
something.
So it's just not my business. I have way too
Right.
many things going
Yeah.
on to even, you know,
Give
think
that.
about that.
So I will say, I'm going to admit, so I don't react to anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on the internet. You can say pretty much whatever you want to about me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just never going to like give it the time of day.
Mm-hmm.
But we did receive negative feedback on our previous episode from I don't even know
That is
what group of
unfortunate.
people that it was. Apparently a conversation was going on, and people were speaking negatively about the podcast because we were sharing too much faith.
Oh my.
Right. It wasn't necessarily about it was our faith.
It was just the fact that we were sharing too much of our faith. And to be fair, we did not put in the description on our Facebook page that we are Christians. So I was like, well, maybe that's why they opened up the podcast thinking like they didn't say that they were Christians, so they weren't anticipating that. And then I told Lacey this in a voice message, but I actually went to our Facebook page and I updated the description. And let me just tell you, you can only put 255 characters in the description or bio of your business page.
Here's a little God wink.
And there were 10 characters left. There were 245 out of 255. 10 characters left. Do you know how many letters the word Christian and a space is before the women-owned businesses portion? Christian is 9 letters and a space.
Right.
There were exactly 10 letters. So I went and added, Christian. So that way people aren't surprised.
We are faith-based.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then here's where I faltered. I made a post and said it something to the effect of, apparently it was met with, people didn't like it. Some people, a lot of folks do love the podcast, but then some apparently have an opinion that we talk too much about our faith, which is unfortunate. But we're not going to stop doing what we're doing.
Sure.
And then I said, it's exciting because our next guests over the next few weeks will be taking us to church. And I guess that was a reaction that I don't normally do. And I made that post, not Lacey. But
I approved it.
she approved it. But
It
I
wasn't
made the
just
post.
She approves. She makes sure I'm okay with things. So
Oh,
it's
for
not
sure.
Like,
But I don't ever react. And I say ever, I never. You know this. You know, anybody who knows me knows I don't react to anything. And I shouldn't have made it.
but when your faith is tested, you get a little.
You know, but
We've been taught our whole lives that you don't deny God.
well,
You know.
and I go back and forth on this. I'm like, we are called to be firm in our faith. Could I have said it a little nicer? Could I have not? Like, was I not nice about it? Doesn't even matter. But just, I'm normally not reactionary. So I shouldn't have been reactionary because
Right.
that was the one time in the past, I don't know,
We are
4
flesh,
years
though.
of my
We
life.
falter.
Yeah.
Right. That I have been reactionary. And God was like, we don't do that, remember?
Yeah.
And this is why you don't do that. However, I still am going to talk about my faith on this podcast. Does it reaffirm from the negativity, the negative feedback? Does it reaffirm that we're doing the right thing? 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I apologize for that?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not going to.
I told my mom yesterday. I said, "Well, we received our first bit of negativity-ness," and I told her what
Did you
it
say
was about.
negativity-ness?
Negativity.
We're going to make that a
We're
word.
making up words. We need a board
Look,
right here.
Louisiana education system has moved up a lot since I graduated high school from Hicks High School. Okay.
I love it.
So
I make up words all the time.
Yeah. That's
Darryl does
this is
too.
the Louisiana in me. Okay. I forgot what I was gonna say.
You said
Negativity.
negativity. So you told your mom.
Oh, okay. So I told my mom, and she was like, "Oh, so are y'all gonna stop?"
What?
And I said, "Oh,
No, baby girl.
I said, "I ain't stopping." And she kind of looked at me like, "Well, people are," because my mom don't like to ruffle feathers.
Okay, so just so like 4 people said
Yeah.
that was too.
Yeah.
Absolutely
no.
not.
And so my mom don't like to ruffle feathers, and she's also like, "Don't mess up your business," like don't. She's old school. She's worrisome, like.
Yeah.
So she was worried. It's not like a negative place. It was a mama heart, like.
Yeah. We talked about this last episode though,
Yeah.
doubling down on like that's not your clientele.
Yeah.
Like this is I don't steer away from things that I believe in for money.
Right.
No, ma'am.
Never.
Never. I'm not doing
should
that.
You
I
compromise on any.
If I go to like
anything
make
like
a post or do something or look at something, bringing a product in or whatever, if there's hesitation of like, this is going to show my beliefs to people. And I think to myself, like, and honestly, I hardly ever think to myself, should I bring that in because I'm sharing my beliefs? I do get people from my industry who reach out and are like, hey, I don't think that's a good idea because you're going to really isolate yourself. You're going to like set yourself apart. And I'm like, that's the goal, bro.
Yes, right. Right.
I preach all this, and I will die on that cross, man,
Yes.
on that hill.
Yes.
I will tell you, like, I'm absolutely going to tell you my values. You're going to know. Honestly, if you know me as a person, you already know pretty much my
Yes.
values. But if you didn't, if you just knew my brand,
Right.
you're going to know that, like, this is for the Southern gals who love glitz and glam, but they also love Jesus. But they might swear a little bit once in a while.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, they love themselves a good marg. I don't know. But, I mean, because we're also multifaceted, but I don't ever want to cater to the world for money. Like, that just sounds gross to me.
Right.
And so many people in my industry
Well,
want you to do that. They
first
want you to
off,
bend
kind of sounds like
and
you have
break.
a false idol. Like your idol is money and the people. And
Like, your
idol should
business
be
is going to
Jesus
suffer.
Christ,
I'm like,
you know?
absolutely not. You know what's going to happen is I'm going to be provided for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm doing what I'm called to do.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, let me just interject this real quick because I believe in what I do.
Yes.
I believe in my product. I believe in everything I do. But I will tell you, I'm going to just interject this, that when people put things on your Google review, when they do a Google review and they say the atmosphere in that place is so inviting and the baristas were so helpful and educated,
Yeah.
and then I met, and I'm not one to want to brag on myself, but then I met the owner and I'm thinking, what? You know, I'm out there talking to
All the time.
everyone all the time. And this is such a great place. Highly recommend it. That's what you're going for. You are going for those people who are are coming in and they know I'm faith-based. They look on my wall and they say, Jesus and coffee, two best things. You know, Jesus is my best friend. Coffee is my second. You know, everything on my wall states,
Right.
it screams believer, Christian.
Yeah.
And then they see me and then they talk to me and they can make that assessment real quick.
Yeah.
So I will never compromise. And I told someone this a couple months ago. If it means compromising, you know, certain things, I won't do it. I won't participate in it. People know where I stand. They know my stance on things, on political views, on Christianity, the way I run my business. If you ought not to come to my business,
Because
that's
of that?
okay.
Yeah.
Because of that. That's okay.
That's okay.
That is fine. I'm okay with that.
I respect your choices.
I do respect
Yeah.
that. And I believe that.
I think
Just don't
this-
ask me to cater
Yeah.
to everybody
Right.
else.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this goes back to the people speaking negatively
Yes.
about you and how you respond. If people know you, I truly believe in letting your character speak for itself.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if I see a mean comment about Miss Debbie on Facebook, well, one, I'm all about defending you in a room you're not in. So I'll probably be like, you really don't know her. I would comment and be like, she's the sweetest lady ever by. But one, I know you.
Yeah.
So that comment doesn't do anything but maybe fire me up because I know you. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I want to go be like, come on, come sit in here with her. Like, let's go talk to her and let's see why you feel the way you do. Because if you truly knew her, you wouldn't feel that way. You know, like, so if I hear that someone says, I was rude to them when they came in my salon, or I didn't do a good job, or not I didn't do a good job, that's nothing about my character, but I was rude to them or something, I may have said something direct, and it may have came off as rude, but I am not an intentionally rude person.
No.
Am I loud and direct and like, hey girl,
Yeah.
what you doing? Yeah.
Anybody who knows you, though, would vouch for you, even when you
Right.
weren't around. Like, okay, so this is hilarious / not hilarious, because sometimes I wonder about people in the
Yeah.
wild. But,
In the
like,
wild.
and, like, the audacity and where they bought it from at Costco on sale. So, in large quantities. And so, this one time, I'm going to share a story. So, because your people know you,
Yes.
the people who patron your business or like are in your life. And I know like a lot of people don't own businesses that are listening to this, but there's so much of this you can literally relate to.
Sure.
Your people know you,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody who has something negative to say obviously doesn't know you, or just perhaps didn't get the full story, or something was misconstrued, or
Yeah.
you know that there's something there.
Or you're having a bad day on their first impression.
Maybe, yeah. So this one time, my store's on the parade route.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever there is a parade, we block off part of the parking lot so that our staff
Oh boy.
can come. Uh-oh. Have you heard? Have
No,
you?
I'm
Have
just
I?
excited.
Oh, okay. This is a real life story. So we block off part of our parking lot so that way my staff can bring their families and watch the parade from the front of the road.
Mhm.
And we have to close early anyway because you can't get in or out of there because
No.
they close traffic. So anyway, I had blocked off the parking lot, and now I have a larger staff and they have families. So we had blocked off and we were closing. But you can like jump the curb behind the store, next to another business. And so somebody had like jumped the curb and parked where we had everything blocked off for employees. And I went outside and I nicely, because you know me, especially I'm on my parking lot. Like I went outside and I was like, "Hey, ma'am, are you shopping next door?" Because a lot of people will park in my parking lot and then go shop next door.
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey, are you shopping next door?" And she was like, "No, I'm just here for the parade." I was like, "Okay, would you mind parking elsewhere because I'm blocking this off for my staff and their families?" And she, I don't know what she said, but I was trying to get back inside and there was traffic, but I think it was just like a scoff maybe, and the window went up. She didn't say anything else. Like that was it. About 10 minutes goes by and my phone starts lighting up because this person went and put a review on my business page and I think on Google maybe, and then made a comment on like 2 most recent posts and just being ugly. Like I don't even remember honestly what she said. But she said if this is the business owner, like with a picture of me, if this is a business owner, she's so rude and her stuff looks so cheap.
Oh no.
All that stuff.
Oh no.
And I like remember, I don't react.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it from me.
Yeah.
Like whatever you think you're going to get, you're not. And so instead, I waited about 10 minutes and all of a sudden, all of these comments, and guess who was commenting?
Your people.
Your
my people. Like all my customers were like,
Yeah.
"What? I'm sorry. No. You've obviously never been there before. Like
Sure.
you don't even, just all these nice comments defending me.
Because your
You know,
character's
I didn't even have to say anything."
Your character's
And she done dirty deleted all that stuff. Like
Yeah,
she
deleted
did.
it.
Screenshots are forever though, and I was
Dirty
getting text message after Facebook message after Instagram message of people with
I
screenshotting
missed
all the
that
things. You missed it because it would only lasted about 25 minutes, and it got taken down because I'm super nice. I care about my people. I'm constantly bending over backwards
Yeah.
for others because
Yeah.
you're supposed to do that stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
And
bit
ladies, let me just tell you something that I'm going to interject this.
you're
That
good.
character.
Stop saying you're interjecting.
This is what you're here for.
You're here for this.
No, just talking about character. Character is what God thinks of me and
Yeah.
what I do when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Reputation is what people think of me.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I doing? I want God to be pleased
Oh,
in
for sure.
everything
Yes.
I
Yes.
do.
Yes.
My character will speak for itself.
That's authentic.
Yes.
Your
that
character is authentic.
But the
and you can't
reputation
fake it.
is what people assume, what they, their perception becomes their reality or your reputation. Yes, I believe in doing the things, everything right, above board, not shady. I am I play by the rules. I play by the book. But that spoke very highly, Brittany, that what you have done in this town, you have built the reputation. But
Yes.
not only that, is your character. You were not reactionary, and you did not,
Oh,
give
I'm not going
feedback
to
in that.
address
Yeah,
it.
no.
No.
So
Because I was there and I know,
you know exactly
Right.
what.
and
Yes.
I mean, I'm assuming that's kind of stuff. It honestly, I hardly ever have that kind of stuff happen to me. So when it does, it's kind of exciting. Because I really don't receive much pushback.
Yeah.
And I just was talking to a friend about this yesterday. I said that negative criticism of the podcast. I was like, honestly, I'm going to consider myself super blessed right now. I hardly ever receive any pushback on things. And I don't know if that's just because I stay in my own lane 24/7.
I think it is. I think people respect you because, like, even I don't receive a whole lot either, and I think it's because we stay in our
Right.
lane.
I'm literally like I'm in my garden,
Yeah.
and I'm like tilling the land, and I'm like,
Yes.
how can I make this better?
Yeah.
I'm constantly working with other businesses trying to build
Yes.
community, and I talk about all the time bringing folks into DeRitter.
Absolutely.
I don't want to I don't want to live in a snow globe, man.
Yes.
That's not the goal.
No.
I want people to come from all over. For instance, I saw like a strawberry festival in Ponchatoula. Y'all seen that on
Yeah, I want to go.
Facebook? I can't. I'm on vacation that week, apparently. Darryl informed me.
Oh.
We're on a cruise.
I was about to say, you still got your school bus?
No. No, he sold that, thank the
We'll
Lord.
load up.
No.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
I want people to see things online, and say, oh my gosh, there's this cute little town called DeRitter.
And we should go
Yes.
for the watermelon
And we should go for the watermelon festival.
And go
Or like,
shop.
have you seen what their downtown looks like?
Right.
Like, it's so
Yeah.
cutesy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, have you seen this little coffee shop that they have there? They do these like coffee flights at Christmas, or they have these like heart-shaped bagels. Like, I want people to know
Bagel.
how awesome that we are.
Yeah.
And come from all over. I don't want to just live in this cesspool of like
Right.
the same
I
thing
agree.
over and over again. I want us to grow so much, and that's why I'm so excited about the future. I'm so excited about these buildings being renovated. I'm so excited
Yeah.
about people discovering like the small town life, because for so often, so many generations, we're so fascinated with big city living. I mean, I've lived in a big city. I don't want to go back. I go visit Dallas for work. And as soon as I enter Dallas traffic, I'm like, this is why I don't
Yeah,
live here.
that's how I am in California. I go and visit my family, and I love going, but I'm telling you, after 5 or 7 days, I am ready to come back to my small town.
It's
Like,
amazing.
I have totally just like changed. I love everything about DeRitter. And that is another story, because God had to really do a work in my heart.
You didn't want to come
love
here.
I did not want to come. I fought with
Well,
God. I was
listen.
like, no.
I was I didn't grow up in DeRitter. I grew up in Leesville, but I was one of those kids that couldn't wait to get out of here.
Right.
And I moved away. I mean, I went to Ruston. It's still in Louisiana, but I went to college in a bigger town. And I am small town in my soul. I love walking into my coffee shop and they say, "Hey, Miss Lacey." Not because, like, I'm Lacey and people know me, but because I go there. And they're like, "Hey, Miss Lacey." I go into Walmart, and every aisle I go on, it's like, "Hey, girl, hey." I walk into the gas station. They know I got my $1.67 for my Dr. Pepper counted out.
Okay, so
like, I love it. And I missed that when I lived somewhere where no one knew me.
Right.
The
a lot of
community.
people want that.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to come in and for you to know their name, and I try so very hard to do
Yeah.
that. We have a shopping problem locally, and I say that in the best way possible. I try to know everybody's name. It's so difficult, but
It's
I try
so
so hard
difficult.
because I'm
Yes.
not always there to see them every single time. So it might be their
Right.
6th time in, but only the 2nd time I see them.
Mm-hmm.
But from like a coffee shop standpoint, it's like a two-way street though.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy for a barista to know you and your name and everything if you're not also willing to give a little something of yourself in return.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know so many people are living here and they don't have the same experiences that we have in places, and they want that. And I think I'm glad you said about like small town and you love for them to know your name, but I know your personality is that you're also like, hey, are you having a good day? Like,
Yes.
I know
That's
that
what I
you're
was gonna
willing
say.
to
Sometimes
participate.
You've got to say
You have to do the work.
first.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I visited, when I go on vacation, I always visit all the local coffee shops in this town. And I will never forget, I walked into this coffee shop in another state. And when I walked in, the barista said, "Hey, it's a beautiful day, isn't it?" And I just looked at her and I said, it is a beautiful day. I am on vacation and I am coming to get one of your coffees.
You know what that does for your mindset?
Oh my God.
It's amazing.
The way she greeted me was a
Yes.
game changer.
Yeah.
And so I come back and I tell my baristas, we call a meeting, I say, look, when people walk through the door, say, "Hey, welcome to the Coffee Connection.
Yeah.
How are you today? It's a beautiful day."
Yeah.
Or write something
Because you're
on their
changing lives,
sleeves.
man.
Exactly.
It's not just to be like, oh, this other coffee shop did it. No.
No.
It's the way that it made you feel
Yes.
when
It
you
made
walked
me
in.
feel like, wow.
Like you were
Yes.
they were
It
excited
was-
to see you.
Yes.
It was amazing.
I
love
have my gas station that I frequent, and I love those ladies.
Probably
And one-
because you get your Dr.
I
Pepper
do.
at
It's the
7
one at the
o'clock in
end
the
of
morning.
end of the
She's
road,
a serial
and I go in
killer.
there every morning with my $1.67 counted out, and I have, And there was this one girl that I hadn't seen in a long time, and she kind of seemed like, not in a bad mood, but just like going with the flow. And I saw she had her textbook back out, and I said, "Girl, I thought you graduated. Are you still in nursing school?" And she, her whole mood changed, and she was like, "I graduated, got this, and now I'm going back for this." And she was kind of like, "How did you remember?" But, people love
It's in the details, man.
Yeah, it's in the details.
That's great.
You've got to remember.
Yes, you have to.
But I also have to brag. Are those your sons? Who is that working?
Grandsons.
Those are my grandsons.
They're from
they-
Rose Pine. I just want to plug Rose Pine again.
Are they teenagers?
They are. They're teenagers.
That is adorable.
They're out of school today because we don't have school in Vernon Parish.
So they were there yesterday.
So they're working for the family business.
Yes, they were
On
there
their day off.
yesterday. And I want to brag on the parenting of those two children
Mm-hmm.
because
Don't make Debbie cry.
I
Her
know.
family is her.
I know,
her,
but
like,
I thought about this at church yesterday, and then this morning when I saw them again, and I'm getting teary-eyed. Not many family businesses can take two teenage boys, two rough and tough
Now listen,
teenage boys.
they weren't always like that when they first started.
Yeah.
Debbie had to elbow.
Yeah.
She had to drop elbows.
But
I
that
still-
leads to the parenting.
Because
Yeah,
they're boys.
Yes.
They
Because
are
they're
very-
boys. They're teenage boys in
But they
South
have come such a
Louisiana.
long way.
Okay?
They are. They're great boys.
And
yes.
they were so kind.
Mm-hmm.
They did not look around that kitchen like they didn't know what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing.
They said, yes, ma'am.
They said, "Yes, ma'am."
Mm-hmm.
They made my coffee. They even, I think they spoke to Gentry yesterday before church. And I was looking around and I was like, they're behaving this well. And I assumed they were your grandsons, but I didn't know. And I said, and their grandma ain't even here.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
tell
You know?
me. They tell me all the time. I go up now. Did you stir that right? Did you do Nana? We have this. We've
They
got
have
this. You go.
She does do that.
I'm a little
especially
bit harder on them, but they are.
Oh, she got them this morning. She said, "That's Brittany's coffee. Did you do it right?" And look, he turned around and he looked at her and he was like, "I've told you, I've got this."
Yes.
And I went, "Miss Debbie, they've got this.
Yes. yes,
they've got it."
yes.
They have their
those. I'm
serious
Yes.
hard on them, but
not
they
because that's you, but that was. I haven't went into any business and saw teenage boys
I have
behaving that.
impressed this upon my kids. They're only 10 and 11. How old are
16 and 17.
Okay,
Wow.
so
okay.
yeah.
I have been impressing this upon my kids constantly over the past year or so, because when the kids aren't at school, they're working with us.
Yeah.
So Olive obviously goes to daycare, but Gracie is with me just like today. There's no school, so she's here with me.
Same with
And she follows my schedule all
Yeah.
day. I'm constantly like, this is how we behave when we go
Sure.
to meetings.
Yes.
You know, this is how we behave when customers are around. This is what we're going to do at work. Like when you're done with a task, make sure if there's something that needs to be done, you can go ahead and do it, or you can ask for direction. Like they're learning how to serve and work in their family's business and be
Yes.
productive and an asset. And I think generationally we've kind of gotten away from that over the past.
Yes.
It's been like me.
Yeah.
But like I said before, you know, I'm not building this. I'd never built this to get rich.
Yeah.
I built this.
Oh, I definitely did build to get rich.
I built this. I built this for me and my family, and like something that, you know, we can pass down. But work ethic is so incredibly important to me.
It is.
Yeah.
For these kids, because
It
I've
is.
been through hiring. You've been through hiring.
Oh, yes.
Have you been through hiring
Not
lately?
at this job,
Yeah.
but at my old job.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
honestly, there is a huge disparity between work, like needing a job and wanting to work.
Oh,
Yes.
big difference. That
And-
huge.
So on my
Yes.
kids, I'm like, your work ethic, like
Yes.
that's you have to build that up
Yes.
in them.
And we have to reteach our children how, maybe not for men because it's easy for a guy to look dressed up, but you can't go to a job interview in a crop top and leggings, you know? Like, we need to reteach our girls how to sit in dresses and skirts, how to present themselves for an interview.
Well,
you know?
they're thinking, and I can tell you this from the
Hey, we could have a class.
we
Yeah.
could have a class.
And I'm not perfect in sitting in a dress and
no.
skirt, but when do you see me in one?
Well, not just that.
You know?
I think that they're thinking, because I've done my fair share of interviews with young women, and I think that what they believe is important to me isn't actually important to me.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could come in. I won't say sweatpants, but you could come in.
Something fashion. Say it's leggings, but it's fashionable.
Yeah, but honestly, I can discern in the first 2 minutes of talking to you whether you are. Can you look me in the eyes when you're
Right.
talking to me?
Right.
Do you speak clearly?
Right.
Are you? Do you say, you know, yes,
Yes.
ma'am, or no, ma'am, or are you coming in and saying, you know,
Right.
I've really enjoyed watching this on social media, and I have never heard a bad word about people who've worked for you before, and I just would really be interested in you giving me a chance or whatever. But I'm had not to say poorly, but like I've had girls come in like Lululemon crop tops and like little mini skirts, thinking I want to see them in like Lululemon or something. Like, I don't care about that. Like,
Right.
your
Right.
brand, whatever.
Right.
I honestly
I
don't
don't
care about
care.
any of that. Like,
Yeah.
has your mother taught you good values?
Yeah.
Can
Can you speak to people?
Can you speak to people? Do
Right.
you enjoy speaking to people?
Right.
Can you carry on a conversation like with a stranger? Like,
Or do
those
you
are
just
things
stand
that
there and look at them.
right. Those are things that I look at.
Right.
And I think the workforce coming in, they don't really have that. They know that their mom's making them get a job to pay for their gas money. And that's not a prereq for
Right.
for her working with me.
Right.
And I think that maybe if we taught that in schools
Yes. Right.
would be awesome.
Absolutely, I
Along
agree.
with some tax.
Yes, I agree.
Finances.
I believe, I honestly feel that God has given me such a great team at the coffee shop. You know,
You have a fabulous team.
The team, I just am like, wow, I'm amazed, and them wanting to learn more. I give them the opportunity to take classes to learn more.
Yes.
I give them the opportunity to go above and beyond, and they do. They step up.
They want
and
to.
They are wanting to. They want to do that.
Yeah.
So I give them a challenge. Like right now, the challenge is, hey, show me all your latte art. I don't require it, but they are working diligently.
Yeah.
It's somebody who comes in to have a cup of coffee in-house. They'll do some latte art. They'll take a picture of it and they'll show me. And I said, at the end, we're going to put it and we're going to put it on our
Social media.
and we're going to let our customers,
Ooh.
decide.
I want to
And
do
I'm
that
going to,
one day.
and I'm
in
going,
house.
and I'm going to give a gift card. They all love Sonic. So I'm going to give a
I hope they're
25
hydrating.
a $25 gift card to Sonic.
Heck yeah.
And just them going back and forth, the banter going back and forth. One of the baristas are like, "Oh, I love me some Sonic. I can't wait to get that card." And the other one saying,
I
"Yeah."
want to hear the smack talk.
Oh,
of,
that's
like,
what they're doing.
Your leaf looks like a teddy bear.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, one of my baristas said, "Oh, mine always looks like a crumpled up piece of paper. What am I doing wrong?" And I said, "Look, just keep doing it. Keep on,
Yeah.
keep on."
Uh-huh.
And the other day, one of them sent me a beautiful latte art, and she had done the whole flower and the leaves and everything. And I said, "Oh my goodness, that is awesome!" Just encouraging
Yeah.
them to step up, so they love what they do. And one of my baristas' moms come in and got some coffee, and she said to me, she's like, "Miss Debbie," and I'm not going to give the name, but they love working
Is
here.
this a mom?
This is a mom.
I think I know who this
talking
person is.
about
Aw.
their person said this is the best job
Aw.
that their child has ever had, and that's all they do is talk
That's
about the
awesome.
environment and the team and the
I love
coffee shop.
that.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I love it's a
Because
young
you've
kid.
created an environment, and then you're empowering them with
Yeah. And just
Yeah.
goals
doing-
and
yeah.
stuff.
You know what? We should plan one day. I don't know why that just popped in, and it may not be feasible, but like a Big Girl Britches Coffee Connection takeover, and like part of the
Oh.
proceeds we bring, like we can help make somehow.
Yeah.
I know we'll be all up in your area, and then part of our proceeds we can donate to something.
I love that.
What are,
you
like-
know I'm about that.
Like, what are we taking over? Are we, like, going to the coffee shop?
You're going to the coffee shop,
Like-
and you're going to be taking orders.
We're gonna be like taking
and
orders. We don't
like we
necessarily have
did.
to make because
Oh, yeah, no.
they can make, but
Don't
we can take
let me
orders.
touch. I know how much that machine
and
costs.
I can toast a bagel and hand it to them.
Oh, I love the bagels.
You know, like we can do.
Can we
like,
get
someone
aprons?
Else can make them, but we can be like, hey, yeah, aprons and hats maybe.
Sure, yeah.
And like
let's
part
do
of
it.
our proceeds.
Let's do it. We could do it.
Yeah, and part of our proceeds we'll donate to whatever charity we choose or whatever.
We can send it to the
something.
Lions Club.
Yeah.
There we go. I love it.
No, I actually know a good bit of people that probably would come in just because it's for the Lions Club.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
They
good
have a
idea.
huge- Have y'all ever went to the Lions Club
In Leesville?
fairgrounds, campgrounds in Leesville?
No.
Uh-uh.
I'm a new member.
Okay.
but,
Me
you know.
too.
I've
This is
never
week
been
3.
a member, but I do know a lot of what they do simply
Yes.
because our 4-H and stuff with the Lions Club.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I have to ask you this because I asked you the first part, what was the best thing you ever did for your business?
oh yeah,
What's the worst thing you ever did for your business, Debbie?
The worst thing oh my goodness. Wow, that is going to take some time. The worst thing is, I think, trying to follow trends. And
Okay.
Not staying in your own lane.
and not staying in my own lane.
Oh.
And that is like trends, trend, hashtag. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try. And it just is a flop.
yeah.
And
it's not you. It's not authentic to
not
you.
me. It is not me. So the worst thing I do for my business is trying to keep up with the trends. And the trends, I am on a lot. I follow a lot of my roasters, a lot of coffee instructors, and the man I trained under teaches in Los Angeles, and I'm like, hey, what's going on out there? And he'll say, right now this is trending, and I will definitely follow him quicker than I will any hashtag trends, because that's the worst thing. It's like butterbeer. We put that on our
Did
on
it
our
do
men-
well?
No. Oh my goodness!
I didn't drink any of it. I know that's for sure.
Well, good thing. But now I tasted butterbeer in California,
Did you
and
like it?
it was amazing. I loved it. I thought it was great. Full of sugar. Now, they're not a powder-based company, and nothing was organic in it, but I thought it was great. Now, I could only drink a half of a cup because it was way too much sugar, and you know how I am on processed sugar. So that's just my belief. So I brought butterbeer with a healthier twist.
And people were like, nah. We're good.
Well, we sold a little bit of them, but I'm telling you, that was the worst. No, it did not go over well.
They want healthy stuff.
They want healthy, so we're like, that's going off
like
the
your
menu.
matcha. Every time I'm in there,
Oh,
there's like 17
our
people
matcha,
ordering matchas.
Our matcha
I know,
is
and
top
I don't
grade.
think I've never tasted it.
Sounds
so
like a Brittany.
I don't know that I would love it.
But you know, I have people come in and say, I've tasted matcha from other places, and it always tasted. One of my friends told me, she said, it tasted like I was drinking grass clippings.
Yeah.
And she said, but when I tasted your matcha, I don't know, it's like on a whole other level.
Okay.
And so,
I
yeah.
imagine grass clippings.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. I just was like, bleh, bleh, bleh. And I was saying, you've got to try matcha. Take a break from coffee because it really does. It's a clean caffeine, and
It tastes good.
it is
But
very.
it's not a coffee flavor.
It is not. It is a tea flavor. So yeah, it's good. Okay.
I want to come in and try in-house the experience with like the glass coffee mug and
Yeah, do.
Oh, yeah,
I've always
did.
got it to go.
We did couples photos in there.
Yeah.
And they turned out so cute.
I think one of the baristas put a flower or heart on your coffee, right? Was it you?
I think so,
It was
actually.
one of them,
Yeah.
they zoomed in on the picture, and I thought, oh, they did it.
Yeah.
I love it.
They turned
I
out
love
so
it.
good.
Cute.
Mariah Kane Creations Photography.
Yes.
She did our photos. She also does my my product photography.
Yes.
For us
Yeah.
too. Two completely different styles.
Yeah.
I love her though because she's willing to learn. Like, golly, the ability to like learn as an
Yeah.
adult.
Mhm.
I wish I had this as a teenager in school
Yes.
when grades counted.
Yeah.
But when Mariah first started doing product photography for me, she was doing it as if like with her lifestyle edge to it.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, I need something different, something on brand for me. For
Mhm.
my business, it needs to be bright white.
Yes.
Lots of pink, lots of sparkle,
Right.
lots of pop. Like, that's the vibe. So for her, like, she was willing to learn that. And it took us, I love her because
Mhm.
she's willing to accept
Yes.
all sorts of constructive criticism from me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, now, product photography, when she comes in, like,
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah.
You just hand her the stuff.
mint.
Yeah. She's so
Um,
amazing.
And then she
I
has
just-
her, lifestyle stuff, and it just, I'm so proud of her because
Yes,
she's grown so
yes.
much as a photographer.
So at your shop, does she have like backdrops set that she leaves there, or does she just have like certain areas in the shop that she photographs at?
It's always different.
Always
She's
different?
constantly in a new location. She's constantly taking, like, we have a shimmer wall.
Yeah.
She'll take pieces that we have left from the shimmer wall and using that in photos to keep with the color schemes. She's constantly like asking for different like forms of media and stuff to sprinkle in there. She's got some like gold foils and everything. It just depends on the season. Is it Mardi Gras? Is it Valentine's? Is it summer? What are we doing? And she's just so dynamic.
Honestly, I love how the inner workings of other stuff. I could sit at your boutique and just sit there and observe all day. I could sit at the coffee shop and just sit behind the counter.
Just watching
Watch.
Debbie roast is like
Yeah.
watching a Wizard of Oz behind the curtain make coffee, like a potion. It's just, you see her
that's
like turning this, and then you see a big old computer screen that looks like 4 people's lifeline, like vitals are hooked up.
EKG things.
Yeah, to it. So she's like focused, hardcore. And then I'll tap on the window and go, "Hi, Debbie!"
That's my twin.
she's in there like scientist with the goggles,
Yeah.
like working on things.
Well,
And
I
I'm-
love that. I love roasting. That
Yeah.
is the science. Science was my favorite subject in school.
sound
So
like my daughter.
It
I'm like,
shows.
science is,
Mhm.
and so the more I just took another class
Yeah.
on
Learning,
coffee,
man.
on learning,
Yeah.
and we start talking about the probing of the bean and the environmental probe, and then how the roasting process goes. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm like a nerd when it comes to that.
It's amazing what happens when you kind of relinquish that pride of I know everything.
Oh,
And I think
yeah.
that comes with age maybe.
Oh no.
But once you kind of say, I don't know everything.
Oh, I'm
And you start
constantly-
craving knowledge. When you start saying, like, oh my gosh, can you teach me? Like,
Yes.
how do you do this? Or you become
Yes.
curious. I think that is honestly one of the best fruits of life.
Right.
Is learning all of these, and
Yeah.
it feels
is.
nerdy.
It
I'm
is.
like,
I
I just
love it.
want to learn as much as I
love
possibly
it.
can.
Absolutely. And you know, like right now, I don't know if you're aware, but right now coffee is at a peak. Like it's crazy.
The cost of coffee.
The cost
yeah.
of coffee is
Oh.
because of what's happening politically.
yeah, it's astronomical. So here I am calling my friends and I'm saying, hey, this origin right now is way out of bounds. What can we do? And I'm seeking advice from my friends, in the industry. So
And
I
people
see
that are
Dylan.
willing to help
Dylan's
you.
like, stop.
The people that are willing to help and like, share
Oh.
knowledge.
Oh,
Those are like
yeah.
top-notch people.
Yes.
And I'm calling them all the time. I'm like, hey, what can I do here? And I mean, I'm talking people who have been in the industry for, 35, 40 years. I am seeking advice from. I am never too old to learn. Like I am learning something every day with coffee,
You
and
wanna
I
know a
love
secret?
it. What?
I'm going to give a workshop for people. I had this discussion, like little bits here and there. But I'm going to give a workshop through the chamber of how, like, if for people who are interested in opening a boutique,
Mm-hmm.
or if they've already opened it and just need a little bit of help with direction, I'm going to help people
Yes,
open
absolutely.
boutiques. And I had somebody say, why would you do that? And I said, because I have a bigger picture in mind.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't, like I said, I don't compete with anybody
Nope.
here. I'm completely different.
Yeah.
And I keep my blinders on and I stay in a lane. But I am willing to help people.
Sure.
And I need more businesses here like mine because
Yes.
I want people to come here and say, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
have you heard DeRitter has like 6 super stinking cute boutiques? We should get a tour bus and do like a crawl
Right.
there every weekend. Like, I want tour buses here every weekend to come and see
Absolutely.
like what we
Yeah.
have to offer. So I'm going to teach people or give them advice at least of like how to be successful or like share my mistakes.
Yeah.
Things I
think
did
that's great.
wrong.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely.
Legitimately.
I love
I'm
that.
so excited about
I
it.
love that.
I
That
am
is
too.
awesome.
I don't want to open a boutique, but can I come?
Yeah, for
Me
sure.
too.
Because it'll be like marketing and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marketing
I'll
your
come for
business
that
and all
part.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it could be for any small business.
I
Yeah.
love
But
it.
it would be heavy on the boutique
Right.
Yeah.
world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of it can be flip flop to business.
Oh,
to
yeah.
business.
You can take little nuggets. I like hearing about your stuff too.
Yeah.
It's a different industry, but I like hearing about it and then like what Debbie's got going on and everything.
I love it.
So, okay. Well, we got to wrap it up.
This is
Thank you for coming, Debbie.
Thank you.
We
Thank
love
you
this
for
episode.
inviting
I
me.
think people are going to be super excited to hear about it.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It was an honor to be here. Thank you. Love you all.
All right. Bye,
Love
guys.
you. Thank you. Bye.